Hello, lovely gardeners. Today is a beautiful winter day. It's actually middle of January, and it's time to start our perennials from seeds. These can be actually started even earlier. Now, that's a little bit of a slower process than growing our annuals, but it's very rewarding because, first of all, you're growing cheaper because you just have to buy the seeds. You don't have to buy a whole plant. And it gives you the opportunity to get more plants at once from the very beginning. As if we are buying this, you're just gonna get 1-2 plants per pot, for example. And perennials are something great to have in your garden. They come out every single year. They are more resistant to diseases. Many of them are also more resistant to drafts and stuff like this. And for the climate that I have, the winters are becoming quite mild, but the summers are very hot and very dry. So I really need to change my garden to flowers that do not require that much water and love the sun, because my garden beds are very much exposed to the sun. I don't have a lot of shady areas. So what is the difference between annuals and perennials in terms of growing them from seed? There's one a very big difference, and that is that the seeds need to be stratified. Now, I have this beautiful, I'm actually gonna plant like 6 new pots today. I already have all these 10 and they've been sitting out there for a while. But today I'm gonna plant things like this beautiful aubrietta. I have also perennial flax, blanket flowers, cone flowers, scabiosa, and great other things. Now, I do participate in quite a few groups on Facebook, local here, where we actually exchange seeds and flowers, and that's another great way to get plants really cheap. And I do send things that they don't have. They send to me things that I don't have, and it's amazing. I absolutely love it. I've been having a great experience. Now, what is the stratification? Most of the perennials that are able to go through harsh winters, through colds, they need the seeds to actually pass a certain amount of time in the cold. In the cold is what helps them break down and being able to sprout. Many times we are buying such seeds and then we are trying to grow them and nothing comes out, and you're like, the seeds were bad. Well, that's not always the case. Maybe your seeds just need some stratification. You can do that several ways. The most important thing is that you don't just have to put the seeds in a cold place, but it has to be humid. The seeds have to be in a humid environment. And because I don't have much space in the fridge, which is a great way also to do that, you can just put them in small pots and just pop them in the fridge for about a month or so. Or you can put them even in moist paper napkins and then in plastic bags and put them again in the fridge for about a month, and after that only plant them indoors in warm. But I'm gonna try to use the colder conditions right now of the winter in natural environment. I already have my seeds here, and I also made my own labels just like this one here. You see, I'm using all kind of pots, like from yogurts and all kind of containers I could find. These are just big cups. Now remember that these might be small now, but you're gonna grow big plants out of this. They will be small at the beginning, but the longer they grow, the bigger and more lush it will be. So all you have to do is just plant your seeds. Make sure your containers have drainage. I already made holes at the bottom here. I don't know if you can see. I made drainage on all of these so that the water can drain very well, because you need good draining soil. Make sure your soil is also very well draining. Mine is usual. I have mentioned before in other videos. I'm using just homemade compost from Red Wigglers, and I'm just going to plant these one by one, put my labels, and leave them under the rain. Now the rainwater is really the best these seeds can get, because if you sometimes have issues with a certain plant or seeds, they're not sprouting or they're not rooting, use rainwater. There's nothing better for the plants than rainwater, and I try to collect water also to water my indoor plants, but that's another topic. So as I said, all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna sprinkle my seeds here on all of them, and I'm gonna put my labels and I'm gonna leave them. And after about a month only, I will bring these indoors in the warmth, and supposedly they will sprout, and in this way I'm gonna have an early start of all these plants. So when I bring them to the garden, they will be already big enough and they will start to flower, hopefully from the very first year. That's why I'm doing all this in this way. Otherwise, you can also just plant them directly in your soil. There's no problem whatsoever about that. Just plant them in your garden and forget about them, and they will come out in the spring. However, that's not really my preferred method, and I'll tell you why. There's all kind of insects out there that very often steal my seeds, and I don't always have good success in this way. That's why I am doing it in a controlled environment, let's say, that I can do this peacefully. Now I just want to show you how worthy that is. I don't know if you watched my video about growing artichokes from seeds from last year, and in my climate they're perennials because it's not too cold in the winter. They can withstand some cold, and look at that. From one tiny plant that we had last year, that's just one seed, guys. This year is gonna become like a tiny bush. I've decided to grow them exclusively for the flowers, for ornamental purposes, much more rather than eating them, because their flowers are extremely beautiful. And this year I'm gonna have huge, this area will be full. Once they grow, they will become very tall, and it will be full of all these beautiful silver green leaves and beautiful flowers. And it's gonna be super rewarding what I did last year. I started them from seeds. I took them out a little bit earlier so they can catch still the cold times, because that's how you make perennials start to flower the first year. After you started them in the warm inside, you want to take them out a little bit early outside in the ground, so they get a little bit stressed from the cold, and they will start to flower from the very first year of planting them from seeds. And it's amazing. I'm expecting to have my garden full of flowers this year, and I just cannot wait to show you. Happy gardening, guys. Hope to see you soon here. Make sure to subscribe so you can follow up my beautiful experiments. I'm really looking forward to sharing some great experience with you. See you!